So, Mark, people want to know how to get started using miles and points. Maybe we should teach them.
Yeah, I think there's quite a few people that come over here from the Vegas channel and aren't really into miles and points. Maybe have one credit card, two credit cards that they use, their Delta or Southwest and stuff, and are watching the shows, kind of picking up some things, but want to get the base knowledge down. So I figured this would be a good one to do as a one-off.
This is our show for Dave Ramsey, teaching him all about credit cards and everything. So, Dave, I hope you enjoy.
Yeah, yeah, Dave, suck it.
The world of miles and points is really intimidating. It's big, there's a lot going on, and there's a lot of verbiage and a lot of different avenues you can go and ways you can go to earn miles and points. You could dive headfirst in and just envelop your entire life with this and travel in premium cabins and take a million trips a year, and every dream you ever imagined can be achieved. Or you could just take a family vacation once a year. I think that's the beauty of miles and points, is you can go deep or shallow, but you just got to get a few basics down.
Yeah, I think it opens it up as much as you want to, and almost get pushed back in the beginning. Like there's so much information overload, all that type of stuff, and you got to kind of like get through the weeds. And it really is simple when you start. You just got to focus niche, small. And then once you get one down, it's kind of like learning a language. Once you learn one language, the next language is easier because there's a lot of similarities and stuff like that. So once you learn one program, the next program will be easier, and you'll kind of pick up on that. They do similar things and all that kind of stuff. So we want to kind of give you a little roadmap to start and how to get into this without being overwhelmed.
So let's start with the currencies that you earn, and we just call points currencies, miles currencies. Different programs call them different things. And in our life today, we're bombarded with rewards programs. It's not just travel, Starbucks rewards, you go to a gas station, there's rewards. So you want to earn points, and you want to earn the most valuable points. And when it comes to travel rewards, it's going to be convertible currencies. These are the currencies that are owned by the banks. They're themed to the banks, like Chase Ultimate Rewards, American Express membership rewards, other big ones, Citi Thank You, Capital One, Miles, and Built Rewards. Those are basically the 5 big programs. What's so valuable about these is they allow you to transfer these points to other programs. So instead of being locked into one thing, now you have a lot more options.
Yeah, and that's the key. It guards you against devaluation. So if one program goes down, you still have other programs, and it opens up more variety for you. Like let's say you had a Delta Sky Miles card and you're earning Delta Sky Miles, and Delta wants 60,000 miles for that flight. That's not a great deal, but maybe you can book it through Flying Blue, which is 25,000 miles. And that does happen, crazy enough, that you can use a partner program to book the flights for cheaper. And you know what? Membership rewards transfers to both. If the Sky Miles is the best price at times, you transfer there. Or you transfer, to Flying Blue if that's the best price. You can't do that when you have just one airline or hotel point or whatever. You're kind of locked in, and you have to take it the good with the bad, where this gives you all the good that you can finagle your way around the bad.
It's not a perfect world. All of these currencies don't transfer all the other currencies. So some have different partners, some have unique partners. So there is some to learn within these programs, but the 2 biggest ones most people focus on, Chase Ultimate Rewards and American Express membership rewards, but they all have their strengths and weaknesses. Some programs have their own, sort of quirks and uniqueness, like Built has Alaska. Other programs have their own unique partners, but these are far better. And I guess one other side effect is you can cash out these points often for cash if you need it in a squeeze. It's not the best value, but it is another option. You're not locked in, and I think that's the moral of the story.
Yeah, I've used that option quite a few times because as you get better at this, you earn more points than you need for travel. So it helps pay other things or helps offset costs that you had elsewhere, unexpected costs. And transferable currencies, you can do that with hotels and airline miles. You can't really do that. Maybe you can do them for gift cards, but it's going to be at like a substantially reduced rate versus what you can get for travel, where you can get like a cent or more with these currencies. So it's not terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible. And you can, cash those out as needed.
So with that in mind, the next thing we want to talk about is start with Chase. So if you're new to this, a lot of people want to sort of start their whole strategy with Chase cards. And part of that's because those ultimate rewards we talked about, very valuable, but also because Chase has something called the 524 rule, which talks about how many applications you've done recently. Specifically, if you have 5 or more new revolving accounts on your credit in the last 24 months, then they most likely will not approve you for a card. So if you haven't applied for a lot up until now, it's pretty good to start with Chase.
Yeah, you want to start there. It's the hardest rule to navigate. Like once you go over 524, it takes a while to get back under. You can't get any Chase cards. So once you're over, they're going to automatically deny you pretty much for everything. Where other banks, you can work around them a bit. Like Amex has once a lifetime rule, but they have so many cards that you won't bump into it for a while. That's why Chase is so important to focus and not get it wrong to start. And that's 5 cards from any bank. It's not just Chase cards. It's if you sign up for an Amex card, a Cap One card, any of those personal cards, that counts against you over the last 24 months. Now, business cards, most business cards don't count against you. So that's a way that some people still will dip their toe into American Express and get a membership rewards earning business card and still focusing on Chase at the same time. So it gives you a little bit of leeway there. But if you're focusing just on personal cards, know that all those will count against you.
Yeah, basically it's what shows up on your credit report as new accounts. So a lot of small business cards don't show up on your credit report. But I imagine a lot of you are wondering, how do I figure out 524? If you're just starting, you don't know what you have on, you can go look at your credit report, look at the new accounts that show within the last 24 months, and those will count towards the 524 status. So if you're kind of lost and you haven't tracked this stuff up until now, you can do that. And then we suggest getting a spreadsheet. A lot of people in the hobby have a spreadsheet where they track the date they sign up for a card, the bonus, when they complete it. So they're staying organized within all of that, and 524 is a aspect of it.
Another unique quirk of this program is, I said most business cards don't count. That includes Chase's own business cards, which doesn't make sense. But if you sign up for one of the Chase business cards, that won't add to your count. You have to be under 524 to get it. But once you get one of those, it doesn't add. So if you're at 224, it doesn't make you 324. You're still at 224. You got the business cards that earns ultimate rewards. Most people start with either a Sapphire Preferred or a Sapphire Reserve. You kind of choose between the two of those, which one works better for you. But that's the best place to really get started into the Chase ecosystem.
So how do you earn points? I mean, I think a lot of the marketing nowadays is about bonus categories, earn 3x, 4x at dining, at grocery, and sort of trying to lure you in on your everyday spend. But that's really not the best way to get big amounts of points. It really is welcome offers, especially when you're newer and you can get a lot of these cards, because you can get multiples. You think 5x is really great for grocery, but what if you were getting 15 or 20x? And that's what a lot of these welcome offers amount to. Focusing on that is a great way to get started and to get your balances juiced up.
Yeah, on the show earlier this week, we talked about the new Capital One Venture Cards offer. 75,000 miles is a part of it. And you earn 2 miles per dollar on everything, which is a pretty good rate. That's the baseline. You should earn at least 2 miles on everything you buy. You'd have to spend, $37,000 to get it's at $37,500 to get that amount of miles, where you can get it for spending $3,000 or $4,000 with most of these offers. So that's where it's kind of crazy. And even if you do these just like a couple a year, you can get most of a trip paid for each year. That's with the $250 bonus that they have added on. That's $1,000 that you can cash out towards travel for one card, which is insane. You could spend for years and never get that much in rewards, even if you're maximizing all your bonus categories. So it really is kind of the focal point is, line up your welcome offers, get those, put as much spend as you can towards those, get one every month or two, every 3 months, 4 months, whatever you're comfortable with, but you can do several of those a year and really rack up the points.
And I meet so many people that do just that, where they have a trip in mind and they start really slow and then eventually they start going a lot faster, but it's really up to you how you do that. But if you look at that Capital One Venture deal that we talked about earlier in the week, 75,000 after 4,000 in spend. So if you were to spend 4,000, you're going to earn 8,000 miles on the spend, plus you'll get the 75,000 bonus. So you have 83,000 on $4,000 in spend. That's over 20x return on your spend for that welcome offer. And that's why we're talking about these can be really outsized compared to just your everyday spend. It's great to earn on groceries. It's great to earn on dining. And those are points we do not turn down. But welcome offers offer multiples just that you're never going to see on daily spend.
Yeah, and sometimes you grab a card just because the welcome offer is good and maybe you like the perks and you don't put a lot of spend on them. And then you can make the decision at the end of the year, do I want to keep this? Is there another option I can downgrade to that doesn't have an annual fee? Stuff like that. But within the first year, you're usually going to come out ahead or always come out ahead, which I know we're going to talk about in a bit. So I'm jumping the shark a little here.
Well, let's talk credit score, because I think anybody watching this, they're going to be worried about their credit score. You're talking about applying for a lot of different cards. People have been sort of brainwashed into thinking that applying for credit means your score goes down. And just think about the logic behind that. Why would applying for credit knock your score down long term? The score is supposed to be how you can pay back things. Now, there are some short term things. You get a credit inquiry. Capital One, for instance, will run all of the credit bureaus. It will knock down your score temporarily, but we have a lot of data points in our own lives and many, many people that we know. And over time, getting more credit, getting more accounts, those are other factors in your credit score, and they actually seem to help. For instance, my credit score is always over 800. I know yours is really good. This has not had any effect on my credit score personally, and I know a lot of people who would say the same thing.
Yeah, early on it actually helps you out because the two biggest things in credit are, do you pay your bills on time? Always pay them on time, always pay them in full. If you're taking on interest charges, then all these points you're earning are worthless because you're paying fees to get them. So you don't want to do that. Pay it on time, pay it in full every month. And then your utilization rate is the other big key. Those two things, make up the majority of your score. And utilization is how much are you spending towards your cap. So let's say you have a $10,000 limit. If you have a $2,000 bill when the statement cuts, that's 20% utilization rate. You use 20% of your available credit. You never want to go over like 35% on any individual card, but they also look at all your cards. So if you get another card, let's say your one card has a $5,000 limit. You sign up for another new card, you get a $10,000 limit. Now you have $15,000 worth of credit. So your utilization rate is going to drop if you're spending the same amount of money every month. And if you switch it to that new card, you're using up less because $2,000 on a $10,000 credit limit is 20%, or $2,000 on a $5,000 credit limit is 40%. And that looks bad. It doesn't make sense. It's stupid because you're spending the same amount, you're paying it off, but to these systems, that's the danger zone.
Yeah, the big algo. Study how these work. Look how credit scores work. Look at the different percentages and what goes into it. And I think you'll be more comfortable. Think of your credit score as this great asset that you have to unlock these welcome offers, to unlock this potential for free travel or for cash back or whatever it is. And you're going to use it. Some people want a perfect credit score. It gives them a good ego. They're like, oh my God, I have an 850 or 900, depending on which one. Yeah. It's like that ego isn't helping you, because if your credit
Yeah.
score is perfect, you're probably not doing the stuff that we're talking about. But also, you don't need a perfect credit score. My score always stays above 800, except for times during the fourth quarter where I'm spending a lot for my other business and it dips down because, like what Mark talked about, and then it just goes back up. But use your credit score. It is a tool and you can extract a lot of value out of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like if you have perfect credit score, they give you 10% off your mortgage rate or anything. Once you go above 780, there's like no difference in what you'll get from a bank or a loan or anything, all the way up to 850, 900, whatever it be. So if you're not pushing it down towards that 780, 800 limit, you're just not maximizing what's available to you. You're not getting value extracted from being a person that pays on time.
I think one of the biggest favors anybody could do for themselves is just learn how credit scores work and use some of those free services to sort of just monitor yours. It's weird because all the banks have a free version of your quote unquote FICO score, but they all use different models. And that's something you should know too, is there are tons of different models, different algorithms that they use. So one might give you one score, one might give you another, and it's all a little confusing. But pay attention to how your score changes, how charging up at one card 1 month might lower your score, what makes your score go up. Become not an expert at this, but become aware of it. I talk to so many people who just have no idea, and they're so afraid, they have anxiety to do any of this because they just don't understand how the credit score works. So I think getting past that hurdle is a big one.
Yeah, and I know the next big hurdle is what we're going to talk about next.
Yes, annual fees. I know it. I mean, emotionally, I pay way too many annual fees. I think Mark and I don't want to admit publicly how much we pay in annual fees, but we see the value, and hopefully we're getting the value back from all the stuff that we're paying. But one big thing people come across is not wanting an annual fee. They say, well, I'm not going to pay for a credit card. But the thing is that the no annual fee cards often don't reward you in the same way. And if you're strategic about the fees, then you can do even better. And so sometimes you got to look past the fee and understand that you're going to get value well in excess of that. Or maybe you're not. And that's why it's important to look at it.
Yeah, and like I was alluding to earlier, in the first year, they're always worth it. Like if you're getting a welcome offer, that fee is always worth it. Like if I walked up to somebody and said, hey, would you give me $100 if I gave you $1,000 in return? Everybody would say, yeah, that's what you're doing. Like you're paying a fee, but you're getting those bonus points in return, which more than outweigh it. There's often perks that you can use in the first year that offset that fee completely. Like we talked about, the bonus on the Venture X coming with the $250 travel credit that you can use now. It used to be just 75,000 points. So you could look at that $250 credit as offsetting the $100 fee that you'd have to pay. So that's one thing. Like there's all these different things. The Sapphire Preferred card has a $50 hotel credit each year that you can use to help offset the fee. So you just go in knowing that the first year it's going to be worth it, and then you can make a decision in year 2 if it's worth it or not. The offers on no fee cards are a lot lower. You're looking at like $250 to $300 in value on a no fee card versus $750 to $1,000 in value on a card with a fee. So those are the things that you're giving up if you're resistant to paying an annual fee.
And you're not making a lifelong commitment. So as like you pointed out, if the first year makes sense, see how it goes. Don't not do it because you're afraid or you have to deal with it. It's perfectly okay to cancel in a year if the card's not working for you anymore. The bank will be more than happy for you to do that and potentially give you another card, or you can apply again, whatever that is. But just because you're signing up doesn't mean you have to keep the card for a lifetime. You're keeping it for that 1 year. That's the agreement you're making, the financial agreement, and the welcome offer is part of that. So you look at the value, it makes sense. That's how you have to look at all of this stuff. And you can do a lot better sticking to no annual fee cards. There are some good ones, but yeah, like you said, generally you're not going to do as well. And there's different levels of annual fees. I can totally see some people not wanting to do a Amex Platinum card, not being comfortable shelling out $700 up front, but there's other ones that are in the middle that certainly are worth a look.
Yeah, and I think as you get into this more and you get more comfortable using credit card perks and understanding the value of the points, then you get more comfortable spending those higher annual fees. And we should say, wait until that second annual fee post before you make a decision or do anything. If you close your card before the full 12 months has happened, sometimes you can lose the points or the bank will be unhappy. So just wait for that fee to post. Then it's time. Okay, I got to sit down, crunch the numbers, see if this makes sense for me going forward. You can also, depending on the bank, there might be a downgrade option that you can downgrade that card to a no fee card. Like if you have the Delta Gold card, let's say, and it comes up and you're like, you know what, I'm not using this check bag perk at all, but I want to keep this account open. It's my oldest account. Then you can go, okay, let's downgrade it to the Delta Blue card. No fee. Still can earn some Sky Miles if you want. All that type of thing. So there's options there.
So let's recap what we've talked about. This is a very simple approach to this. You don't really know a lot, and you can get started with just these few things and this little bit of information to get you on the path. Because just like with anything, once you get into something, you'll learn more, and the amount of information that you'll discover is just almost infinite. Start with transferable currencies. Start with Chase with 524. Be aware of all that. Focus on welcome offers. Know how your credit score is being affected and pay attention to how things change over time. And then don't hide from the annual fees. I think if you put those 5 things together, that's a pretty solid start people can have.
Yeah, we're talking like in a year from now, you could have enough points to take your family on a trip almost anywhere if you want to. Once you figure things out and get rolling, it really opens up the world to you. Or just maybe you take the same trip you would have taken, but you do it in better style. So it just gives you more option, more money to spend. So you can use this in a variety of different ways.
So let us know in the comments, do you like this beginner content? Do you have any suggestions? Anything else for newcomers? Have you been around a while? You want to add your suggestions down there? Let us know. Let's discuss this. We really want to help people get started, get going, and then give you all the information along the way with our regular 20-minute travel shows. Mark on Travel on Points, me on Miles to Memories. We really think we can help you do better, but let us know what you think, and don't forget to subscribe, all that good stuff. Thanks for watching.
Have a good week, everybody. Good weekend.